today is a good day indeed. I know I think I said that last time, but it really is a good day because finally a manual transmission is coming to the 2020 Mark V Toyota Supra. And that means we have to talk about everything we need to know. The who, the what, the where, the when, the why, and crucially, the how this is going to be happening. Because last I heard when I talked to Toyota, they were interested in seeing the market response to a manual transmission Toyota Supra, but have confirmed absolutely nothing yet. But now the news has come out that a manual transmission Toyota Supra is coming, and that is really exciting. Oh, I suppose I should back up a little bit. Hi there to everyone who's new to the channel. My name is Jake and I talk about cars in a pretty obsessive sort of way. And over the years of me doing this, I've been fortunate enough to be invited by the car manufacturers to come drive a lot of these new sports cars, and the Toyota Supra is no exception. Toyota invited me to the launch event for that vehicle, and I have a lot of seat time behind the new Supra. And I have to say, it's a great sports car. For $50,000, I think it ticks a lot of boxes. It's fast, it's fun, it looks really cool. But this sounds so basic, but as a manual transmission diehard, every car I own in my garage right now, it has a manual transmission. That is the biggest downfall of that vehicle. The 8-speed ZF automatic is usually pretty good, but I found a few shortcomings with it, especially on the racetrack where I felt it was a bit sluggish ultimately. But I think it's more than the out-and-out performance. You see, when you look at all these cool $50,000 sports cars, you can get a BMW M2, a Camaro SS1LE, a Ford Mustang GT Performance Pack 2, now the Supra. All those cars offer manual transmissions except for the Supra, and in all those cars, they're pretty good. While the Mustang could do a little bit of work, but the BMW M2 and the Camaro SS1LE, for example, in particular, very good manual transmissions. But they also offer automatic equivalents, which I like. You know, it gives you options to the marketplace. So you have to consider me kind of surprised that Toyota never really offered a manual option for the new Supra. And the latest news from Toyota themselves that, well, they're just not going to do that for the time being. The Mark V has no plans of offering a manual transmission from Toyota directly. So where does the news come from that a manual Supra is coming? Well, it actually comes from the aftermarket. So let's jump right into it. Who? EAG, European Auto Group, is a company that has since become specialized in doing manual transmission conversions on vehicles. They really sprung up recently for offering a manual transmission conversion for the Ferrari F430 Scuderia. Awesome car, really racy motor, but the F1 automatic transmissions in those cars are not supremely reliable, and I think there's enough of a niche market there where people were converting or wanting a 6-speed conversion, so they offered it, and it seems to be quite successful for them. So basically what they do for that car, for the Ferrari, is they find base F430s that had 6-speed manuals, which are very rare but do exist, and they take all the OEM parts out of that vehicle and then basically do a factory style conversion into the Scuderia to make it effectively a factory style manual transmission conversion using all OEM parts. Now EAG has come out and said they're doing the same for the Mark V Supra because they've had enough initial interest from their customer base and from people on the internet. They said, okay, well, we're going to do it. So according to EAG, they're going to try and use 100% OEM parts in this 6-speed manual conversion. Next up, what? $6,000 to $12,000. Specifically, EAG is requesting a $6,000 deposit for prospective customers, and they said all in the swap's gonna cost right around $12,000 to do. Again, sourcing all these new OEM parts directly from BMW. Where are they getting the parts? Well, from BMW themselves. You see, while Toyota did not want to pair a 6-speed manual transmission to its BMW-sourced B58 engine, BMW themselves does that no problem. You can go to the BMW dealership right now and buy a brand new BMW 440i Coupe that has the same B58 engine as the Toyota Supra paired to a 6-speed manual transmission or that same 8-speed automatic you can get in the Supra. So the OEM parts bin is completely there and readily available on a brand new car. So the parts are out there at dealerships right now. Man, it's really hard to run on this thing backwards. Hopefully you can see that. When EAG says the swap is going to take approximately 30 to 45 business days, depending on how busy their shop is, to complete the complete conversion. That double negative, complete the complete conversion. Still, so in about a month, and about 12 grand later, you will have a manual transmission Supra that in theory should drive just like a factory fresh BMW transmission would. The why should be the most obvious part. Duh, it's a Toyota Supra. Of course it needs to have a manual transmission. Again, I think the Supra is a great performance car, but the level of performance it offers is not at such a high level that a manual is really going to hold it back in a notable way for most people. Sure, if you're a drag racer, you'll want the 8-speed automatic, but for most people that just want a fun street car or occasional track toy, I think the 6-speed stick is the way to go. And clearly there's enough interest in consumer demand for them to say, yep, we're going to be the first people to do this, since Toyota won't do it for us. Now, the last bit here is how. How are they going to do this? Well, I mentioned they have the full BMW parts bin to choose from, but it's a bit more complicated than that. You need to think about packaging and wiring and things like that. Now, fortunately, having worked on quite a few BMWs, if you see my videos, I have a little bit of insight onto this. So, the good news is that the BMW 6-speed manual transmission they're going to use is actually a more compact transmission than the ZF 8-speed. So physically getting it in the car should not be that difficult. If you look at most BMW manual transmissions, they're actually surprisingly compact for what they are. They tend to be quite square in shape versus many rear-wheel drive cars having quite long manual transmissions. BMWs are pretty compact. So getting it in the platform shouldn't be that difficult. And then it's just a matter of fabricating up a custom drive shaft to adapt it into the chassis of the car and bolt it up to the rear differential. And then the more complicated bit is the programming and the wiring. Now, fortunately, like I said before, BMW has made B58 engines that are made to be paired to a manual transmission, so obviously they offer some sort of DME, that's BMW code for the ECU, DME pinout or wiring for a manual transmission, so the factory option has to be there in some capacity. But it's up to EAG now to figure out what wires are going to go where to make the car work like it would from the factory. Usually when you think about manual transmission conversions from automatics, the biggest thing is getting the car to start and getting the car to not trip the immobilizer or get freaked out from codes when it doesn't recognize the transmission no longer being in park or neutral or drive. Obviously when you have a manual transmission, all you really need is the clutch switch to start the car, and then everything else the transmission kind of does by itself. Then you obviously have the big thing was going to be getting the car to start, getting the car to run properly, and then basic stuff like some manual transmissions have the vehicle speed sensor in the transmission, some have it on the rear diff. We'll have to figure out how that works for the Supra. And then it's just a few interior bits and things like that, like how are they physically going to make a manual transmission shifter fit in the center console? Because if you look at the Supra's interior, the shifter kind of has a little funny recessed shape. The interior is very interesting in that car, so making a 6-speed fit is going to be kind of an interesting challenge. And then obviously you have the pedal box, though I suspect making it physically fit, again, either BMW parts to pull from, that will not be that complicated. It's just getting everything to talk to each other in the car because it is a modern powertrain. On older cars, manual transmission swaps are much more simple, like my E46, which is right behind the camera. If you want to manual swap an automatic E46, because it's an older car, it's a much simpler process. So there it is. We covered the who, what, where, when, why, and how of the 2020 and beyond Mark V Toyota Supra having a manual transmission. Shout out to European Auto Group for being the first ones to tackle this. I know everyone else is just like, well, swap in a 2J and an R156 from an old Supra, and that's just not as cool as doing this to a modern car and making it try to look and appear and feel like a factory fresh alternative. So yeah, shout out to them. Hopefully they get the swap done sooner rather than later so we can see these things out on the street. I hope many people actually end up buying the conversion kit rather than just saying they will, to kind of give them a positive reaction, and I hope they keep doing this for other platforms too, because it's definitely a really cool thing, especially, you know, I'm that part of that 1% that represents the manual transmission diehards, and I really respect when companies do stuff like that and step it up for the enthusiasts. So that is all I've got for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for more automotive content because I love talking about cars. Please drop a comment with your thoughts on how terrible or great this video was, my information, if I'm totally right or wrong, and what you think about a manual transmission coming to the Mark V Supra. I'm clearly in the camp that I'm all for it, but I'm sure people have different opinions. I can't wait to read 800 comments arguing which is faster, a manual or an automatic. Oh boy, I love the internet. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.